The rivalry between San Francisco and Seattle always finds a way to raise the stakes. And this time the tension arrives loaded with uncertainty, injuries, and last-minute twists that could reshape the entire game. As the division round approaches, the atmosphere around the 49ers is intense, not only because of the opponent, but because of what is happening inside the roster just days before kickoff. One of the biggest storylines centers on Fred Warner and his long, exhausting fight to return to the field. Throughout the week, his presence at practice sent a jolt of energy through the team. Watching him move laterally, change direction, accelerate, slow down, and even engage physically gave the impression that a surprise comeback was possible. His body language screamed competitiveness, the same edge that has defined him as one of the most impactful defenders in football. Yet despite the optimism created by those practice sessions, the final decision was made with caution. Fred Warner will not play against Seattle. The linebacker pushed his body to the limit in an effort to be ready, attacking rehabilitation with relentless discipline. Hours each day were spent focused on recovery, strength, and mobility. From underwater training to advanced recovery methods, he did everything within his control to give himself a chance. Still, football shape is not the same as physical readiness. Timing, trust in the injured area, and game speed require more than determination, and the team ultimately decided it was too early to take that risk. Even so, Warner's journey has already had an impact. His teammates felt it. His presence alone created urgency and belief, the sense that something bigger is waiting if they handle business now. The message inside the locker room is clear. Win this game, empty the tank, and open the door for a potential return when the stakes rise even higher. Warner was playing at an elite level before the injury, dominating against the run, locking down passing lanes, and setting the tone defensively every single snap. Losing him hurts, but the standard he sets still lingers over this defense. With Warner officially sidelined, responsibility shifts to a group that has already been tested under pressure. Eric Kendrick steps into a central role once again, and his performance in the previous round showed exactly why experience matters in moments like this. His awareness, positioning, and ability to read plays before they develop helped stabilize the defense. He tackled with precision, communicated clearly, and delivered when the game demanded it most. That type of calm presence becomes invaluable in a rivalry game where emotions can spiral quickly. Alongside him, the depth of the roster continues to be challenged, but also proven. Players who were not expected to carry such responsibility earlier in the season have answered the call. Communication along the defensive front has improved, alignment has been sharp, and discipline has replaced panic. That does not happen by accident. It reflects preparation, trust in the system, and players buying into roles that may have come sooner than expected. The injury report does not stop there, and it adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile matchup. The secondary will be forced to adjust without key contributors, placing pressure on younger players to handle assignments against a Seattle offense that thrives on exploiting hesitation. Every missed tackle, every blown angle becomes magnified in games like this, especially considering how costly those mistakes were the last time these teams met. On the other sideline, Seattle faces its own concerns, most notably at quarterback. Sam Darnold dealing with an oblique issue has introduced uncertainty into their offensive plans. The oblique plays a critical role in throwing mechanics, rotational power, and overall accuracy. Even a minor limitation can disrupt timing and ball placement, particularly in a game that demands quick decisions and sharp execution. The fact that his backup has been taking meaningful repetitions speaks volumes about the seriousness of the situation. If Darnold plays, the question becomes how effective he can truly be. Pain management is one thing, but confidence in the throwing motion is another. Any hesitation could alter play calling, limit deep shots, or force quicker releases that play into the strengths of the 49ers defense. If he cannot go, the challenge shifts entirely, as Seattle would be forced to adjust its approach on the fly in one of the most hostile environments imaginable. All of this unfolds against the backdrop of one of football's most heated rivalries. There is no easing into this game, no feeling out process. From the opening snap, intensity will be at its peak. Every collision carries extra force. Every third down feels like a turning point, and every defensive stand feeds momentum that can swing the night. San Francisco understands what is at stake. Not just advancement, but the opportunity to bring a cornerstone leader back into the fold if they survive this battle. The stakes are personal, physical, and psychological. The injuries, the uncertainty, the history between these teams all collide into one moment. And as kickoff approaches, the 49ers are preparing to rely on depth, discipline, and the belief that doing the job now could unlock something even bigger waiting on the other side. As the focus shifts deeper into the matchup, the spotlight naturally falls on how San Francisco plans to compensate for the absence of its defensive anchor. When a player like Fred Warner is unavailable, it is not just about replacing tackles or assignments. It is about replacing leadership, communication, and the ability to diagnose plays before they unfold. That responsibility now spreads across the entire unit, forcing everyone to play faster mentally and cleaner technically. Eric Kendricks becomes the emotional and strategic center of the defense in this situation. His understanding of offensive tendencies allows him to position teammates correctly and prevent confusion before the snap. Against Seattle, that skill becomes crucial, especially with motion-heavy looks and misdirection designed to stretch linebackers horizontally. Kendricks does not rely on speed alone, but on anticipation, angles, and timing, traits that often matter more in high-pressure playoff environments. Next to him, players who were not expected to see extended action earlier in the season are being asked to step into meaningful roles. Garrett Wallow's path to this moment has not been linear, yet his recent performances have shown discipline and awareness. His lateral movement, ability to close gaps, and willingness to attack downhill give the defense a level of physicality it desperately needs. While experience cannot be manufactured overnight, confidence grows quickly when preparation meets opportunity. The defensive front also carries added responsibility. Without Warner cleaning things up at the second level, the line must win early in the down. Penetration becomes critical, forcing runs to bounce outside and disrupting passing lanes before routes can fully develop. Communication between the interior linemen and edge defenders must be flawless, especially when Seattle attempts to exploit cutback lanes or use play action to freeze linebackers. In the secondary, the challenge intensifies. With injuries thinning the safety group, younger players are thrust into roles where hesitation is punished instantly. Seattle's offense thrives when it finds soft zones and mismatches, particularly on intermediate routes. That places enormous pressure on coverage discipline and tackling fundamentals. Missed tackles cannot happen, especially considering how costly they were in the regular season meeting between these teams. Offensively, San Francisco understands that complementary football is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity. Sustaining drives, controlling tempo, and protecting field position become essential tools to ease the burden on a defense already in navigating adversity. Every possession that ends with points or pins Seattle deep limits exposure and keeps energy balanced across all three phases. On the opposite sideline, uncertainty continues to cloud Seattle's preparation. Sam Darnold's oblique injury raises serious questions about their offensive rhythm. Even slight discomfort in that area affects rotational power and follow-through, two elements critical for consistent accuracy. Quarterbacks rely on muscle memory and trust in their mechanics, and any doubt can alter decision-making in subtle but damaging ways. If Darnold is limited, Seattle may be forced to shorten its passing game, leaning more heavily on quick throws and scripted reads. That plays directly into San Francisco's defensive philosophy, which emphasizes rallying to the ball and limiting yards after the catch. Should Drew Lock be called upon, the dynamic changes again, introducing unpredictability but also potential volatility in execution. Seattle's bye week was meant to provide recovery and refinement. Yet injuries have instead introduced instability at the most important position on the field. That reality shapes everything from play calling to fourth down decisions. Coaches may become more conservative, or they may feel compelled to take risks to compensate. Either approach carries consequences in a rivalry defined by momentum swings. Emotionally, this game exists on a different plane. The familiarity between these teams eliminates surprises and magnifies mistakes. Players know each other's tendencies, strengths, and weaknesses. That familiarity breeds confidence, but also breeds urgency. There's no room for slow starts or mental lapses. One mistake can echo for 60 minutes. Inside the 49ers locker room, the message remains consistent. This is about resilience, about proving that identity does not collapse when adversity strikes. The absence of star players tests the depth of belief within the system. Everyone understands that winning this game does more than secure advancement. It reinforces trust, validates preparation, and potentially brings reinforcements back when the margin for error grows even thinner. As the hours tick down toward kickoff, the narrative continues to evolve. Injuries, adjustments, and psychological edges all converge into a single outcome that will be decided snap by snap. San Francisco is preparing for a battle defined not by perfection, but by response. How they react to adversity, how they handle pressure, and how they impose their will when fatigue sets in will determine whether this season continues to build towards something even greater. The physical nature of this matchup guarantees that adjustments will be constant. Coaches will be forced to adapt on the fly, reading tendencies, exploiting matchups, and managing personnel carefully as the game wears on. Fatigue often reveals cracks late in these rivalry games, and that is where discipline becomes the difference between control and chaos. San Francisco's ability to stay patient, avoid penalties, and execute assignments even when bodies are tired could quietly shape the final outcome. Another layer to this contest is the mental toughness required when momentum inevitably swings. Seattle has built a reputation on responding quickly after setbacks, using tempo and aggression to flip the script. The 49ers must be ready for that surge, especially if a big play or sudden change shifts energy. Veterans on both sides of the ball will be leaned on to slow things down, reset focus, and keep younger players locked into the moment rather than the noise surrounding it. Every snap now carries weight, not just for the scoreboard, but for what lies ahead. Players understand that performances in games like this define legacies, deepen rivalries, and linger long after the season ends. Preparation meets opportunity in these moments, and for San Francisco, the challenge is clear. Withstand the pressure, trust the depth, and let execution speak louder than circumstance as the night unfolds. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Brock Purdy's star may be fading faster than fans expected. According to a well-known analyst who has rarely shied away from bold statements, the 49ers quarterback has been exposed under pressure, sparking heated debate across NFL circles. While Purdy's early performance has dazzled, critics now argue that his skill set may not be enough to carry a team with Super Bowl ambitions. The analyst comments have reignited speculation that the franchise could be looking for a more established leader under center, someone like Dak Prescott. The conversation around Purdy has shifted dramatically in recent weeks. Once hailed as a game-changing rookie, he now faces scrutiny over decision-making in high-stakes situations. Observers point to moments where his poise seemed to falter against top defenses, fueling concerns about consistency. The analyst in question went as far as calling Purdy a fraud, suggesting that the quarterback's early success may have been amplified by circumstances rather than raw talent. Such words, naturally, are generating waves among 49er supporters who are split between staunch defense of their young QB and mounting worry that the team might not be fully prepared for a deep playoff run. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott's name has emerged as a potential savior. Though currently under contract elsewhere, his experience and ability to lead in critical moments make him an attractive option should the 49ers feel they need a proven arm. Rumors are swirling that front office insiders are quietly assessing the feasibility of pursuing Prescott, weighing the cost against the risk of waiting on Purdy to grow into a consistent winner. NFL insiders note that the 49ers have rarely hesitated to make bold moves to secure talent, adding fuel to speculation that a quarterback shakeup could be on the horizon. Even if nothing materializes, the narrative itself is reshaping perceptions of Purdy's future. Analysts and fans alike are dissecting game footage and play calling, searching for signs that either validate or refute the claim that he has been exposed. The debate is fierce. Some argue that with the right coaching adjustments, Purdy can thrive, while others suggest that his ceiling may be limited and that bringing in a veteran like Prescott could be the only way to maximize the team's championship window. In the high-stakes world of the NFL, reputations can shift overnight, and Purdy, once untouchable, now finds himself at the center of one of the league's most provocative rumors. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.